A little bit back, I did a special on dirty air and how it affects race cars. Now, my background is in sort of circuit races with lots of corners and stuff like that. So the focus was on cornering and basically the amount of speed you lose when you're behind a car. And a lot of people asked about how slipstreaming works if that's the case. And the thing is, they're two very fundamentally similar phenomena that you can use to your advantage in different ways. So firstly, I recommend you go and check out that dirty air video before coming back to this one. But let's have a look at what slipstreaming is and how it works. If I have a car traveling along a road like this, it will generate a high pressure region in front of it from all of the air that's coming on this way. It will also generate a low pressure wake behind it. Now, when I was in the dirty air video, I was talking about how this wake region is turbulent and lower velocity, and that causes problems for the trailing cars in terms of getting downforce. But when you're trying to slipstream a car, what you're trying to do is use the car to speed you up. The key difference between these two things is that dirty air is a disadvantage because it reduces your downforce. Slipstreaming is an advantage because it reduces your drag. So less drag means you can go faster, drag being the force back that way on the car, downforce being the force that way on the car. Downforce has no bearing on your top speed, so you don't particularly care if you're going along a straight how much downforce you have. So you just want to get the maximum speed, which means you need the least drag. If you follow behind a car at any distance, so if your car's back all the way back here, you'll be seeing some degree of the effect of the wake of that car causing less relative velocity on your following car. As you get closer, you're going to see far more of an effect, and it becomes more complicated. When we have a car following in very close proximity, we end up with the low pressure area behind the rear of the car here interacting with the high pressure area on the front of the car here. Now, of course, the high pressure area forces the car backwards because you've got pressure there higher than there, so it's forcing the car backwards. Now, this high pressure region and this low pressure region are interacting, lowering the pressure on the front of this car. That means that it's going to end up with less drag, which means it can get a higher top speed, and that's why you can get a tow down the straight, which you can then use to pass. On the dirty air video, someone asked a few questions about NASCAR. Now, I'm not from America, I don't really get to watch much NASCAR, but he identified something known as aero loose, which is when a trailing car comes up so tight to the front end car that they cause it to spin out without it even having contact with the car. Now, we can see that this high pressure region here is going to apply an aerodynamic force on the frontal car. And what most people don't know is that slipstreaming a car, particularly if you're big bluff cars like, say, NASCAR, slipstreaming your car will end up with the frontal car actually getting a drag reduction as well. Because you filled in this wake and made it higher pressure, you're basically pushing the car along. And this can also be observed in things like cycling, where when they're in a line going along, or I think a peloton is what it's called, the lead cyclist will gain, I think it's like a 5% aero advantage from someone tailgating them. And obviously the trailing cyclists gain a lot more, but the lead guy still gets the thing. Now, when you're going along in something like NASCAR and this aero loose thing comes up, this is because the high pressure region is interacting with the air and it's pushing it forward. Now, this has two effects. One, it moves the effective center of pressure of the car forwards. So let's say your whole car is producing some degree of downforce. If you are producing downforce off the splitter on the front of your car, you've got a big pressure region down low. If the rear bumper of the other car is up high, this pressure region is going to force that bit up, which is going to take a little bit of weight off the rear axle and thus make the rear of the car a little bit loose. The other way you can think about it is think about a shopping trolley. You go and push a shopping trolley with one finger and it will try to wander all over the place, especially if you put the weight heaps far forward in it. And this is the same sort of effect that's going on here. So as you're pushing the car from behind, it gets a bit loose, and this is what can end up with your aero loose phenomena and the lead car spinning out when the trailing car gets nice and close to it. Of course, there are plenty of CFD and experimental studies on this for trucks, race cars, cyclists, and all that. You can go on for ages looking at these studies, but I'll leave you to do that in your own time. And that's slipstreaming explained. It's a pretty simple concept. I think I covered most of the basics there. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to check out the other videos on my channel. Leave a comment below if there's anything you want me to look at, and hopefully, see you next time.